Men and women cannot be platonic friends. The issue with being platonic friends is that it doesn't start off that way. All right, so here's the thing. Um, Although I'm talking to, the men, just know that if you're a woman watching this, you can flip it, in your favor. The same thing that applies to what I'm, speaking to men about. You can take it, for yourself and flip it around to your own situation. So, give it a listen. Hey, what's going on, young world? It's your guy, Philippe Deshawn, and you are now tuned in to the third episode of the iNVISILLENNIAL. And in this episode, we're going to talk about something called breadcrumbing. Now, if you don't know what breadcrumbing is, some people do, some people don't. It's a term regarding dating and relationships. But before we get off into what breadcrumbing is, we got to go ahead and talk about the Twitter poll results. I put out questions via Twitter in the form of a poll. And the latest question that I put out: when and how should intentions be communicated when dating? The first conversation, which was 44%, through time and actions, 56%. Now, I personally believe that you should get, that statement of intention during the first conversation, because you want to make sure that she's not wasting your time, and you want to make sure that she is being who she portrays herself to be. And when you get that statement of intention during the first conversation, she has to stand on those words. Sooner than later, you'll find out the truth. You can walk away, before, things get too far along. If you want to take the time and allow actions to tell you what she's about, that's your prerogative. You can do that. You know what I'm saying? But just understand that you could possibly be setting yourself up for manipulation, because you are putting yourself in position for her to be who it is you want her to be. So if she does have some sort of ulterior motive, you're not necessarily going to be able to catch that, because you're giving her too much information about yourself, and you don't even know what her intentions are. She can be what she wants to be with you when you haven't made that clear between you two. I mean, I understand. A lot of guys, they don't want to do too much. They may scare her away or push her off. But, at some point, you got to be mature. You got to be a grown man about the situation and get that information beforehand, before anything progresses, because anytime that I broke that rule of mine, things went left. And it didn't turn out right. Or it just got to a point to where it got so dragged out. With that said, hey, to my guys out there, get that statement of intention during the first conversation. All right. So what's breadcrumbing? Let's get into it. Have you ever been in a situation and you're not quite sure how she feels about you, but, she does just enough to keep you close and give you just enough time and attention to keep you interested? Well, that's breadcrumbing. So when people date, we date for two reasons. People date exclusively for, intimacy and sex, or for a long-term relationship to marry somebody. There's no gray area, there's no in between, in my honest opinion. Now, as for men, you should always have a woman give that statement of intention during the first conversation. If she cannot tell you, what she desires on either side of the spectrum, in my opinion, do not entertain her to any extent. Now, of course, this applies to anybody dating in general. Do not entertain a woman when she's unsure about what she wants. Most women that act unsure, are emotionally displaced and bring confusion and distraction into a man's life, So when dealing with this type of woman, they find security in taking a man's kindness as a weakness. So she gets the attention, she gets the satisfaction, she wants in every way a man is willing to give, doing the bare minimum. So until she meets someone who stimulates her in the fashion she's more attracted to, she's going to use, you or use a guy, as an emotional layover. And you don't want to let that happen. At that point, men often get stuck chasing reciprocity, but not being confrontational, so they don't lose what they, feel they deserve or invested in. That's when you get lost in that friend zone. Men and women cannot be platonic friends. My honest opinion, if they haven't hooked up or, haven't engaged in some form of consensual act, because at that point, they can resist any urge or, tension and remain platonic. So the issue with being platonic friends is that it doesn't start off that way. There's always sexual attraction, and usually men and women don't mutually come to an agreement that they're not attracted to each other and decide to carry a platonic relationship. You know, now the friend zone for a woman it's all about ego. Men should stay clear of, platonic relationships because it will become problematic at some point. That's factual. Facts. Now, how can people be involved, go through, all the motions necessary to start a relationship, stop and choose, and just be friends? Nah. Which takes a high level of compatibility, but then involve themselves with someone else at some point, who's incompatible. That shit just don't make sense. So what has he or she done with and, for each other to have a relationship that takes precedence over who they're committed to? How and why are they reciprocating certain actions, and feelings that should be fulfilled by their partner or the person they're committed to? Now, majority of women want the same thing in that security, whether emotional, financial, or even spiritual security. A man can be the same man to any and every woman, but a woman more than likely, cannot be the same woman to any man, or any and every man at that. So my guys out there watching this, don't follow the breadcrumbs. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon.